All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to fit one of our lenses with the gears. Just show you some minor points. It's very, very simple to do, and it's very quick as well. First things first, your lenses, all these lenses have different diameters, and it's important to note that these gears right now are available in one size. By the time you see this clip, we will have introduced, or just after you see this clip, we'll have introduced a larger gear designed for lenses like the f2 300mm, 600mm, just lenses with large focus rings. Or if you're using an EX1, a video camera, and you want to put a follow focus on it, right now you can't, but you will be able to with our larger gears. So they're basically designed to fit everything that this can't in terms of the very large glass size. So you'll see those shortly. But the ring in itself has studs, and you're going to use these studs to basically mount what we call spokes, which is going to fit your gear to this lens. Every one of these gears has, every one of these lenses has a different circumference, and all you need to do basically to figure out what length of spokes you're going to use, and you can see the spokes, if you like here, we've just kind of pre-fitted them. We've got nylon tips here, so we've these are stainless steel screws basically with nylon tips, which we've had custom manufactured so they don't mark up your lens. Measuring the circumference of this lens, you can basically get a measurement that you can use on our catalog. So go to our catalog, we have a fitment chart there. So once you know what the circumference is, we kind of make it easy to figure out what size of spokes you need to order. And of course I'm doing this in free space, so it would be a lot easier to do this on a table. But we'll just kind of snug those up into roughly the correct position. I see I've already gone too far. So we're going to fit this to the lens, kind of engage these. We don't want to go too tight onto the lens, obviously. And you can see the way I've done this right now, I've got myself a bit of a problem because obviously I have a spoke sticking out over here a lot more than I do here. So fitting the lens is going to take a tiny bit of finesse, and that you're going to want to have these all looking the same. And the easiest way to test to see if you have this on perfectly centered is simply to put it on, engage a follow focus, or could just be an object on a table, just something that's close to this ring. And it would be kind of like truing a bicycle tire if you've ever done that, if you've tightening spokes, if you're into biking. But when you turn this ring, you'll be able to check the spacing between the object. This follow focus isn't touching the gear right now. It's just, I think it's about 1/8 of an inch or a few millimeters away. So by turning this all the way through its rotation, you'll be able to tell really quickly if you've got it in the right spot. And if it needs to go in or come out, you can adjust on the fly by just adjusting these guys. So again, we don't want it too tight, we just want it tight enough so that it's secure on the lens. Another important thing to note is that these are asymmetric, meaning they're not in the middle of the gear, they're off to one side, and they're that way for a reason, because if, for example, you're using a matte box and you mount this lens, and I'll just back that off a bit, and you happen to mount this lens like this, you're going to end up in a situation where the gear is actually forward to the front of the lens, and it's going to hit a matte box. So the better way to do this particular lens, because it's fairly small, would be to orient the gear this way, and we can go anywhere on the focusing surface here. You don't have to go on the grip part. You can go anywhere. And again, by mounting it this way, I can mount it on my camera. I can still get to my aperture ring in here. If you're using an EOS camera, it's not really a concern because it's all done electronically. I'm not going to be interfering with the front of the camera or the front of a matte box at this point, or in this case the back of the matte box, because I'll still be able to insert this into the foam donut at the back. One of the other fine points of fitting a number of lenses with our gears is that you may want to think about where this is in relation to the front and the back of the lens, specifically actually to the rear of the lens. Why? Because if I'm doing lens swaps and I put these gears all in the same position, and we've given you a lot of flexibility to do that, ideally you're going to have them all in the same distance from the back of the lens. Why? So that when you do lens swaps, you don't have to reposition your follow focus. And you know, a lot of people are buying seven or eight of these gears, and that's just one of the finer tips to make your life a little easier if you're in the heat of production. The other thing that's we really like about our gear is it's got a bit of width to it, and that allows the lens. Now this lens doesn't travel. This is an internal focusing lens. It's an expensive one. I think it was in around the $1,200 mark. But a lot of lenses do travel, and the width of this lens is what you basically need to cover that travel. So if I'm focusing and the lens is moving in or out, I don't want to have to reposition my follow focus. So this gives us lots of travel and lots of flexibility. The other great thing about it is that you can install this pretty much one time only, and if it's centered properly, you're going to actually find it quite convenient if you're hand focusing just to leave it on there. It's also, the nice thing about not using a zip type gear is that we can guarantee that these teeth are profiled exactly to each other. So when they're fitted together, there's very low lash between these two gears. So, you know, we work really hard on making this follow focus near zero lash, but the gear itself is also critical. So these gears are matched by the same manufacturer perfectly, so that when you engage them, it's very smooth. There's very little resistance because of the polymer material that we use. And we know that the tooth profiles are matched. So hope you enjoyed that. That's pretty much a primer on fitting your lenses with our new focus gears. And we spent a lot of time getting them perfect, getting the fine points like gear pitch perfect. So we hope they make your life easier out there in the field. Thanks so much, and we hope to see you on another riveting episode of Cinevate's Video University.